You ever get that special kind of peace that only seems to show up on a Saturday morning before 10 a.m., before the world wakes up enough to ruin it? Yeah. That golden hour where your coffee's still hot, the birds sound like the soundtrack to some fake suburban commercial, and even the thought of your mortgage payment feels far away, like it's happening to somebody else. That was me, living in that exact slice of heaven. I'm out there in my driveway feeling the warmth from the June sun coming up through the asphalt, holding my garden hose like it's a scepter king of my castle master of all I survey. My 2018 Ford F-150 Shadow Black is parked front and center. My pride and joy. Honestly, I treat that truck better than I treat my own liver. This isn't just washing. I'm detailing it. I'm in the zone pre-rinse phase, letting the water run down the hood, taking with it the week's worth of dust and pollen, making these muddy little rivers that feel weirdly satisfying to watch. Smells like wet pavement, a little metal, a little ozone from the hose water. Perfect. I'm even humming some classic rock maybe Creedence can't remember, but you get the vibe. And then it starts. The screech. Not a tire, not a bird, not anything natural. It's a sound that evolution hardwired into men for a reason, a sound that makes the back of your neck go tight. You know that sound. Hey, you, stop it. Stop it right now. I freeze. Thumb slips off the hose, water cuts off, and for a second it's dead quiet except for this rapid slap, 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 slap of flip-flops charging across concrete. I turn, and there she is, Mrs. Higgins in the flesh. If you live in the suburbs, you already know the type. Every neighborhood's got one, it's like a law of physics or something. She's in her late 60s, bathrobe that looks like a couch exploded in 1984, marching right up to the edge of my driveway with her trusty clipboard looking like she's about to conduct a riot. Burgundy hair that's more helmet than hair, sprayed so solid I think it'd stop a bullet. She stops exactly 1 inch from my property line. She's big on boundaries. Good morning, Mrs. Higgins. I manage trying to sound like I haven't already started regretting my life choices. Everything okay? She mimics me and I swear it's like a chainsaw just found a nail. No, Jack. Everything is not okay. You are doing it again. You are stealing my pressure. And at first I'm just lost. Like, is this a joke? I look down at my hose. I look back at her. She's dead serious. Don't play dumb. I have my sprinkler set for 9 a.m. sharp. My hydrangeas require specific hydration intervals. Okay, I say. So, me washing my truck is a problem, how? She goes off about the city water main running from the street past her house, then to mine, and apparently when I turn on my fire hose, her words not mine, I create a vacuum and literally suck water out of her pipes before it can reach her precious hydrangeas. Her rotary heads are limp, Jack, limp. She says it like she's describing a medical emergency. I just stare. I'm an engineer. I know how water pressure works. Unless I'm secretly operating an industrial pump out of my garage, there's no way my hose is affecting her pressure by more than a drop in a swimming pool. Mrs. Higgins, I try voice level, that's not really how it works. The city main is a foot wide, my hose is half an inch, and she cuts me off. Do not mansplain plumbing to me. She roars loud enough that the local crows take off in a panic. Now she's reading from her clipboard. She's got handwritten spreadsheets. May 12th, 9:03 a.m. You showered my kitchen sink, flow reduced by 12%. May 14th, 6 p.m. dishwasher, my toilet took 14 seconds longer to refill. She accuses me of grand larceny of utilities. And at this point, I think she might actually call the cops. So I take a deep breath and tell her, look, Mrs. Higgins, I'm going to finish washing my truck. If your sprinklers are low, call the water company. I'm using water I pay for on my property from my tap. I squeeze the nozzle. Water comes out, hits the tire. Thack. She screams, assault. He's weaponizing it. I'm not even pointing it at her, but she acts like I've come at her with a flamethrower. She pulls out her phone, starts recording, narrating like she's David Attenborough documenting some new species of suburban criminal. Subject is engaging in malicious water hoarding and aggressive spraying in a residential zone. I try to ignore her. I focus on the suds, the truck, the one peaceful thing left in my life. 10 minutes go by. She's still out there whispering into her phone. He is now scrubbing the bumper, Look at the aggression in the sponge movement. I see lights flash behind me, reflections off the wet black paint. Oh, great. Cops. Not one squad car, two. Apparently, grand larceny of utilities sounds serious over the police radio. Officer Miller gets out, no relation to me, thank God, though at this point we've basically become friends because of all her complaints. He just looks tired. Looks at me, gives this little half smile like, sorry, man. Morning, Jack, he says. We do the whole awkward small talk. He turns to Mrs. Higgins, who's now vibrating with righteous indignation. Dispatch said you reported a theft in progress and assault with a deadly weapon. She points at me. He's stealing the water pressure. She launches into her physics lesson again, tells him I'm diverting the city supply for cosmetic automotive vanity while her flowers suffer. Officer Miller rubs his temples. Ma'am, we've been over this. Buying water from the city and using it is not stealing. It is when he takes my share, she insists. And then he lunged at me with the sprayer. I have it on video. She shoves her phone in his face. He watches for like 5 seconds. I'm washing my tire. She's screaming in the background. Ma'am? He finally says, barely hanging on to his patience. He's 15 feet away from you. He's washing his truck. There's no assault and there's no theft. If you're having pressure issues, call a plumber. I don't need a plumber. I need justice, she snaps. But then, her eyes flick down and I know, like I just know she's about to find something else to lose her mind over. Sure enough, there it is. The rinse water mixed with a little soap had run down the driveway and was now trickling barely onto a sliver of her grass, maybe 3 square inches. She gasps, dramatic, like she just witnessed a murder. Look, the water, it's crossing the line. I say, it's just soap and water, Mrs. Higgins. It's harmless. It is trespassing, she yells, and suddenly I'm being accused of illegal discharge of waste materials. Officer Miller looks at the tiny puddle, looks at the sky, probably praying for a meteor. And then she brings up city code. Technically under City Ordinance 44B Section 9. He sighs. She wants to file a report, wants me cited. She threatens to call his sergeant for negligence. And honestly, she's probably got the chief of police on speed dial. Officer Miller leans in and tells me, look, technically she's right about the code. If the water runs off your drive onto her grass and she makes a stink, it's a code violation. It's stupid, but it's the law. I'm standing there thinking, you have got to be kidding me. Miller offers to write me a warning. Tells me to try washing the truck on the other side or put down a towel. Mrs. Higgins, of course, is not satisfied. A warning, I want a cease and desist. I want a guarantee. She's got the milk-curdling glare now. I want your water kept on your side. She hisses, each word its own threat. If I see one more damp spot, I'll sue you for everything you own. I will put a lien on your house so fast your head will spin. Something in my brain just flips. Soft click. I look at the tiny stream on her grass, then at my yard, the roof, the way the land slopes her sunken patio. Suddenly, I've got a plan. Not just an idea, but a blueprint, like my subconscious had been waiting for this very moment. I smile. It's not a friendly smile. Total containment, I repeat. That's right, she snaps. Not a drop across the line. So you want me to make sure all water stays on my property until it's properly discharged, and you'll be watching like a hawk, Jack, like a hawk. Okay, I say. I drop the hose. Officer Miller, you heard her. She wants strict adherence to property line water containment. I am officially on notice. Miller looks at me like I've lost it. Jack, you don't have to. No, I interrupt. She's right. Good fences make good neighbors. Right, I need to respect her boundaries. I promise her dead serious that I'll fix my drainage. You won't see another drop, Mrs. Higgins. I'm going to renovate my entire system just for you. She puffs up, struts back to her house. She thinks she's won. Miller says, just don't wash the truck for a week. Let her cool down. I watch her front door slam. Oh, I'm not worried about the truck, officer, I say. She brought up a good point about drainage. My gutters are old. I need to upgrade. Miller just shakes his head. Jack, what are you going to do? Just following the rules, officer. She wants water on my side. She's going to get every single drop. Miller leaves. I mutter, but the fire department might need a pump, and head into the garage. The next week she's quiet. Too quiet. But not for long. Monday, I get a certified letter. Not mailed, hand-delivered. Letterhead, Law Office of Stephen Higgins Paralegal Services. Her nephew. He's not a lawyer, but it sure looks scary. They're demanding I rectify my improper drainage or face immediate litigation. Right under that, a real city code violation. The complaint: improper drainage affecting a neighboring property. Downspout too close to the line. City code enforcement shows up. Dave. Looks like he just crawled out of a mud pit, but he's straight with me. We got a folder on her jack. Thick one. But I gotta do my job. Turns out, since a complaint's been filed, grandfather clause doesn't matter. I gotta move the downspout. I ask, if I run all my gutter water to the backyard 5 feet from the fence, is that code? Dave grins. Technically, that's compliant. Once it hits the ground, it's surface runoff. You can't help where gravity takes it. And right behind my fence, her sunken patio, lower than my lawn by a good 2 feet. You see where this is going, right? I tell her exactly what Dave told me. Gotta move the downspout, Mrs. Higgins. Make sure the water goes where nature intends. She's so pleased with herself. Has no idea. That afternoon, I call Big Mike, the only contractor who hates HOAs more than I do. I lay out the whole saga, the water pressure, the code, the patio, everything. I want all my roof runoff, every drop, rerouted to a single spot back corner above her sunken patio. Mike is thrilled. That's evil, Jack, he says. She threatened to sue me over my truck wash, Mike. I'll be there Thursday, he says, and we're using the biggest, ugliest steel gutters you can buy. Install day arrives, and Mike rolls up with gear that looks like siege equipment. His truck shakes the whole block awake. Mrs. Higgins comes out worried about aesthetics. It's industrial, isn't it? She says, nose up. Top of the line, ma'am. Mike grins. She relaxes, not realizing that all her rainwater nightmares are about to come true. Mike and I build what can only be described as a hydrological weapon. 6-inch commercial gutters, 2 downspouts merging into a collector box, a big 4-inch PVC pipe running under my yard, popping up 5 feet from the fence. Painted white, totally code. She's thrilled. She thinks I'm defeated. She has no idea. And then the forecast: a massive storm brewing in the Gulf. The timing couldn't be better. When the rain comes, it's biblical. The sound of water thundering on steel gutters louder than you'd believe. My system's working perfectly. Water hits the emitter, POW erupts like a fountain, pours onto the grass, flows straight toward the low spot, her sunken patio. Gravity takes over. She comes outside, sees her patio flooding, tries to sweep water uphill with a broom. The water wins. It always wins. She calls the cops, calls Miller, calls everyone. Miller comes over, I hand him my laminated permit. He shakes his head, checks with code enforcement Dave. Dave shows up, paces off the distance, looks at the permit, looks at Mrs. Higgins' backyard, which is now a pond. Dave says, once it hits the ground, it's God's water. She screams, it's Satan's water. Look at my basement. Dave tells her, you dug that patio. You didn't get a permit. You didn't build a retaining wall. This is on you. Miller shrugs. No crime here. Weather event. Civil dispute. I go inside. The storm rages on. Afterward, her basement's ruined patio, trashed furniture molding. Insurance comes out. Adjuster asks me for my side. I hand over everything: permit, video, city code. He denies her claim. Self-inflicted damage, unpermitted landscaping, failure to mitigate known drainage risks. She eats the cost. 15 grand out of pocket. She never comes out to yell at me again. In fact, she plants a wall of hedges, privacy maybe, or just a barricade for the next round. Big Mike comes by to build my new deck a month later. We sit there looking at the pop-up emitter, cold beers in hand. We could have aimed it a little more to the left, Mike says. We could have, I agree, but she wanted precision. He laughs. Clouds gather. Looks like rain. Somewhere behind the hedges, a door slams, a shop vac fires up. Music to my ears. And that's the thing. In the suburbs, you don't fight fire with fire. You fight water with water. You let gravity do the dirty work, and you learn that sometimes the only way to win is to give people exactly what they asked for, no more, no less. So let me ask you, where's the line between justice and revenge? At what point does protecting your own turn into letting karma play out? Would you have done it differently? Or maybe you've got your own Mrs. Higgins story tucked away and waiting for a rainy day. Go on, tell me about it. I'll be here just keeping my water to myself.